Okay, hello everybody. Oh my goodness, I did this last time too. Wait, I need to change the screen so that you can see me and take it off the tabletop here. Hang on a second. Okay. Okay, here we're gonna try it again. Ooh, my hair's a little messy here. Anyway, um, I am Christina Taylor, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, coming to you from North Canton, Ohio, with a very squeaky chair. This chair is making a lot of squeaking sounds. Um, anyway, I'm coming to you today with a video of our cards for our Grateful Greetings Gratitude class that I had this last week. And so I'm going to share those with you. And I've got this beam of light coming down again. It was in my last video. I don't know what's causing it, but like I said before, I feel like that's my brother's presence coming down from heaven. He's just like, I'm here with you. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with that. Anyway, I am so glad that you're joining me today. It's a beautiful day here in North Canton, Ohio. Beautiful autumn day. We had a beautiful day for class too. It was very nice, had the doors up and the fresh air and just sunshine. It was all kinds of goodness. And I got great feedback from these projects. So I'm very excited for you to join me today and see what you think. Remember to, if you are signed into your YouTube account, to um, like the video. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, ding that the little like for notifications. And if you subscribe, you'll get when I upload videos. You're welcome to share this video. And yeah, all the things. But if you have a favorite card from today's class, like comment in the comment section and share with me what your favorite project is. So I love to hear that feedback. It helps me like know what everybody likes, what they don't like. But this class, I got great feedback on all the projects. So that made me super excited that everybody was pleased with their cards. So I guess I will go ahead and turn the camera down. I'm trying to think if there's any announcements. Going on here in the month of October, we talked about it at class a little bit, but I think if you're on my email list, you got that update that Stampin' Up! Has an amazing starter kit promotion. So you can sign up to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator or just be a little kitnapper and grab the kit at this amazing deal. For $35, you can get $125 of product that you pick out, so your choice. So like if you've got a little wish list of products and you're getting close to like $100 with your order, just sign up to get the kit and you can get that order for $35 with free shipping too. So it's just $35 in tax. So it's like maybe $37, $38 when it's taxed out the door. $125 worth of product. You get catalogs, business supplies that you would need if you would choose to make a business out of it. And you get a free paper pumpkin kit. So that's a complete kit that comes to you with your kit. And that in itself, with the shipping and tax on that, is like a $28 value too. So you're really looking at like, gosh, more of like $150 in product. So it's a deal you can't beat. And if you decide to like continue on and you can just use your demonstrator ship to get a discount on your products, get them for 20% off. Buy them for yourself, buy or have your friends and family and enjoy that discount. No commitment. If you choose not to continue on with anything, you can just drop off with Stampin' Up! And they're not going to hunt you down to be like, no, you must submit sales. Not going to happen. And you're not going to get that from me. I'm going to be here to encourage you however you want me to do, or however you need me to do in that capacity. But I do have a small group of women, and we get together every couple of months. So we're looking to get together in November and just share some creative time together. So that's always nice too. It builds, we have a nice community of stampers. So anyway, that's enough about that. If you want some details, just message me. And the next class that I have coming up is on Wednesday, November 19th. It's the week before Thanksgiving. And that will be, it's called a Snowy Day card class. So we will doing winter themed projects as we get a little closer to December. I won't have any classes, in-person classes in December per se, but I might pop in with some videos and just fun things. We'll just kind of see where the days take us in that regards. But no, the November is my last in-person class that I have scheduled currently. So. And that class, as I said, will be winter in theme, but you could make them holiday cards if you need to, but they will be like snowy, like pine trees and all that, those kind of wintry vibes, that type of thing, which could very easily be tweaked into a holiday card. So, okay, enough chatting from me. I'm going to turn the camera down and we'll get started. Okay, so here's a peek at our projects that we're going to do that I'm going to share with you today. These are the cards that we did in class. And then these are the copies of our two current catalogs. I've shown them before. If you don't have a copy of either one of these and you would like one, just reach out to me at my email address is stamping. No, this is my website. Oh my gosh, I am so discombobulated. You know why? I should not have eaten chocolate before I started this video. I really shouldn't have. I've had um I've had multiple pieces of chocolate. And so I shouldn't have because I'm not focusing very well. So this will be an interesting video. So hang with me, ladies. Just hang in there with me. My email address is stampmecrazy at sbcglobal.net. You can send me an email if you're needing a copy of the catalogs. You can also reach me there with questions about anything. You can also message me through Facebook at my business page is Stamp Me Crazy. You can message me through Messenger. And yeah, my goodness. Oh, this is going to be a roller coaster ride, ladies. All right. So these are our projects. I'm going to clear our space up. I'm going to start with we'll get started with the first one, then we'll just go one at a time and share some creativity. So let me get these out of the way and clear the space and grab our other supplies. Just a moment. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so this is the first card we're going to create. And this card, um, the dies do all the work, really. You've got all this is in one die set. Then we've got some designer series paper. And then, of course, our stamped image. So very simple card, really beautiful. Some of the ladies at class made this into a masculine birthday card, which I thought was genius as well. On the back side of this paper, the ply paper, there's like some deer on there, so you could flip it over and use it that way if you would like to. Either one is going to be complementary to the card design. So I'm just going to set that over there. If we're working together here as we're going along, this greeting piece, the sentiment piece, is popped up with some dimensionals. Everything else is pretty much fastened down flush to the card. So on this particular project, we're using the Gathering Leaves embossing folder. And that's one of our larger folders, and that is, I believe, an online exclusive. I don't think that's in the holiday catalog. I get so confused trying to keep all that stuff straight, but if you search Gathering Leaves, you'll find it that way on my online store. The stamp set that we're using is Peace on Earth, which you would think is like more like a holiday set, but it's kind of like an all occasions stamp set. I mean, it does have some holiday sentiments in it. But the heartfelt prayers with deepest sympathy, and the one we're going to use is big hugs for a good friend. So I thought that was a great sentiment for like a gratitude card. Like if you had a friend that just went, above and beyond and you want to give them a little like kind of like a paper hug. So that's the sentiment we're going to use on this project. And this is a clear photopolymer stamp set. The ink that we're using is Early Espresso. Here's our awesome die set that is doing a lot of the work on the project. So I've used three of the dies out of here. I used the smallest one, then the third in line, and then the fourth in line. So three of this set I've used on this card. Plus I used all the little die cut elements. So these little berry branches, the short one and the long one, the little pine cone, and the sprig, the pine sprig. All those came out of the same die set. Beautiful set, great investment. It's called Branching, I think it's Branching Out. Yes, branching out dies. And there is a stamp set that goes along with it, but this die set is a standalone. You can, as you can see, you can use it to make a card, not necessarily have the stamp set. All right, so let me share with you our supplies. I've gone ahead and done some die cutting, so you don't have to watch me do all that kind of good stuff. So we've got our white envelope. We've got a piece of crumb cake that's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. You've got a piece of plaid designer series paper, so it's a plaid and crumb cake, and that is 4 by 5.25. We've got three die cuts, the different series of labels that were in this die set. And as you can see, I've die cut out of there, so we're going to circle back to that one. So we've got our small that we're going to stamp our sentiment on. We've got the next in line, which is our crumb cake. And I have already gone ahead and embossed that with the leaves, so we give it some texture. You can see I've die cut that pine sprig out of the center of this, as I so often do. And then we've got our largest label piece. This is Early Espresso. And as you can see, I've die cut the pine cone and the little berry sprig out of this one. And I do that for two reasons. If you've watched my videos, you've seen me do this before. I actually love doing it, cutting it out of layers, because for one, it's like one less cut. I don't have to go get another piece of cardstock, cut that out, and then come back and I'm layering over top of it. So it saves on cutting another piece of cardstock. You're already using this piece, you're covering over top of it. No one's going to know that you die cut some images out of it. But what it also does is it's taking these pieces. So let's see. So we die cut these two pieces out. All right. So it's taking them out of there. We're able to use them on another section, another part of our card. And it's not adding any more weight to the card as far as like postage. If you have that concern of making, if you like a lot of layers, sometimes that adds extra postage. This is just utilizing the supplies you already have and not adding any additional weight to your project. And as you can see, they're going to layer over top of one another. Once we stamp there, and you're not even going to be able to tell that I've got things punched out below. So great way to use your supplies. And then we've got some linen thread here that I'm going to tie the bow with when we get to that point. So I've grabbed some, I've got my sentiment, which is big hugs for a good friend. And then I grabbed some pine cones out of another stamp set. I liked that these stamped images to go along with this particular set. So we've got those two. So we're going to start by folding our card base in half and flatten that with the bone folder. And let me get some adhesive here. This one's a little empty. Let me grab another one. So see, there's the little deer on the back if you want to use this one. If you've got a kit to go, if you're following on with a kit to go, you will have that option. If you're crafting at home and just kind of creating your own, you can use whatever you like, something that would be complementary. You might even want to change up the color palette. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and fasten this one down. Oh my goodness, this has been such a day. I'm so kind of sleepy. Um, but there is football on tonight, so there's a good chance I'm going to be watching that game. Um, maybe I'll get my second wind, when the chocolate kicks in here, or that I'm going to come down off of the little bit of sugar rush that I just gave myself with eating the chocolate or yeah, before I pressed record. And then you guys all get me and you're like, oh my gosh, Christina, you're a little bit hyper. Okay, let me grab my foam mat. I'll just grab this one we used it at class, so it's got a little bit of leaves and all kinds of things on it, so no worries. we're going to stamp this on the foam mat since it's photopolymer. So I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp that towards the top since I want to layer um, my little die cut elements at the base. So I'm going to stamp that towards the top. Let me grab my chamois. Clean this off. My chamois needing a very good scrub in the wash. So I wash my chamois. I put them in like a garment bag and wash them in the washing machine with like the towels that we like dry off the car with or something like that, you know. And they need to be freshened up after class. There was a lot of ink all over them yesterday. Okay. Now I want to stamp some pine cones in here. So let's do that since we've got our ink opened. Okay. And we'll do the little one. Okay. And go ahead and do our envelope too while we are at it. Just do this little one in the back. Kind of like a little seal, the pumpkin, or not pumpkin, pine cone. Okay. Okay, so I think we've got all of our stamped pieces, so we're ready to kind of continue assembling. Let me grab some dimensionals here. Just got my minis handy, so that'll work just fine. Did any of you take advantage of the kit sale that we had last week? Oh my goodness, that was such a great um sale on the kits, and so many people were commenting on how they uh they took advantage of the starter kit promotion and got like 6 or 7 kits and then just only paid the $35. I thought that was a great idea. If I could sign up again and take advantage of that kit, I'd definitely do it. Anyway, okay, so you've got, if you did a kit to go, you've got a long sprig in your kit, and you can see here that mine is shorter. What I did was I just snipped this in half and only used half on each project because you're making two of each card. So I just snipped it right here in half. This is actually somebody's from a kit, so I'm not going to snip theirs because I don't want to mess that up. So it's just that portion of the little sprig. And then you kind of have to just, what I suggested with the ladies at the class was just kind of, you just like figure out how you want to lay it out. So you're kind of setting things down here, getting like, okay, do I like this? And you can always cut this. But let's just do this. If you're like, you know what, this is, I don't want these at the angle that they're at, cut them in two and just kind of place them where you want to. All right. And then this, let me see. Kind of looking. Okay, so I think I kind of want to do it like that. Obviously, I'm not going to cover the word. So this gives me an idea of the placement. All right. So what I like to do, if I can find my stamp and seal, let me grab that. So what I'm going to do is just put a little adhesive. Let me run that right there. So it'll give me something to kind of start placing these on. It just like tacks it in place a little bit. Actually, I should put a little bit of glue. A little bit of glue on the end there because those are going to kind of stick over. That there. And then you're just building, like I said before. Just kind of build your placement. You can snip off these little ends if they end up being, it's like, okay, it's too much there. Just snip them. And put bit, and I want to put a little bit on the edges of these guys. Okay. See, do this. I'm processing. I'm like, And then this little pine cone. Tuck that in right there. Okay. So I've got everything kind of pressed in place. I want to clean this area up right here. So I'm just going to snip it with my scissors. My little paper snips. Okay. Let me shut this. And then I want to tie a bow with my twine. And I'm going to grab my bow maker. These are just my little bow makers. My husband makes these if you have interest in one. They're just $5 and it comes with the pegs that you need to be able to tie the bow with, and it's a wood block ready to go. So this is a quick way to tie little bows. I'm just going to take the tail, come around. For me, I'm left-handed, so this I may do it the opposite of the way you want to do it, whatever's comfortable for you. But I bring the tail around to the right side, bring the linen thread around the back, wrap it around once, and then with the twine, I go around again. Okay, so I've gone around twice. I'm crisscrossing it, bringing that tail over and under, and then tying it in a knot. Okay, pull those off, snip my ends. And I've got this little, just a little linen thread bow with like a double loop on it. Really delicate, super easy to tie them with the bow maker. That's how I make all my bows lately because it's so much easier. Let's get a glue dot. Put that right there. Peel off the tab and put that bow in place. Okay. All right, let me get this. Okay, so here is our first project. Got that one all done. I'm going to clear off the space and then I'll come back with our next project. Okay, this is our next project. We're going to create some of these beautiful pumpkins that we've used in class before and using the sentiment, I'm grateful for you. So just a beautiful card that can be used for Thanksgiving or just, again, expressing gratitude to somebody. So everything is stamped or put flush to the card, except the label. I've got that popped up with some dimensionals. So if you're crafting along with your kit to go at home, you'll kind of know what direction I was going with things as far as the layout. What was I gonna say? I just escaped me. I had a thought and I don't know what that. Oh, the label. So we're using the label set, the branching out dies that we used in the last project. This is another size label from that set of dies. So I didn't bring that back into the picture. We've already used that. But again, you can see it's versatile to be able to use on other things too. All right, so we are using the Etched Autumn background stamp, large stamp. Love this. If you don't have this as part of your creative collection, you will want it. You'll want to grab it before it's no longer available. And then we're using the Grateful Blessing, and this is where I grabbed the I'm grateful for you, but it has some other really great sentiments in it too. It's a photopolymer stamp set. And then our beautiful pumpkins with the stamp set and the dies, of course. And we've used this before in class. So in this set, I've grabbed out both of the larger pumpkins, the smaller ones, and the two stems. Okay. So I'll set those things aside till we get to that point. We're using Cajun Craze for an ink. We're using Pumpkin Pie, and we're using Timid Tiger. I've also grabbed some extra pumpkins for accents on this because I have my pumpkins set up on the Stamparatus. So you'll see that right here. we're stuck to that, but we use this in class. This makes it a whole lot easier for everyone coming to class that it cuts down on the die cutting that they need to do. I've gone ahead and pre-cut the die cuts for the pumpkins and the stems, and they just kind of put them in place and use the Stamparatus, which I'll show you what was done in class so you can understand that as well. So in our kit, we've got our, as far as the supplies, we've got our envelope. We have a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, and this is our regular traditional weight of the cardstock. It's not the thick basic white. Then we've got a piece of Cajun craze that is 4 by 5.25. We've got our die cut label from the branching out dies, and that is on our basic white. And then I've got a large pumpkin, a small pumpkin, and then the little stem and the big stem. I'm also using a Stampin' Spot of crumb cake. So that's what we're going to put on the little stems there. And I just grabbed the Stampin' Spot because it's a little easier to ink those little guys, which actually, now that I look at this, I was stamping with these earlier today and I put them on blocks. So instead of putting them back on the Stamparatus, I'll probably use the blocks and we'll see how it lines up with the little die cuts doing it that way. They're photopolymers, so it might work out just fine. So let's go ahead and stamp these pumpkins so that way I can move the Stamparatus out of the way here. So what I'm going to do, let me get this up in the camera angle here. There we go. Okay. So I've got my template set up. I'm just going to go ahead and take my pumpkins and put them in place where they are die cut out of. Okay. And I want to start, let's see, there we go. I'm going to start by inking the larger, let's see, if I turn it this way, you can still see everything. Okay, the solid image of the pumpkins, I'm going to ink that in the Timid Tiger, just going to be a little lighter. Okay. And stamp this down. I've got my little glider here that I'm going to press down with. Okay. These will probably come back up. No worries. I'll just make sure my template is in place and put those right back down. Okay. Then I've got pumpkin pie. Now, some of the ladies use the Cajun craze at class, and I didn't check to see how well loved this pumpkin pie was. So we're going to see because it might be like need a little bit of re-inking. So we're going to see how it stamps. If it doesn't stamp to where I get a nice contrast, then I might put the Cajun craze in there. But I'm going to ink those detailed ones with the pumpkin pie. Close my Stamparatus. Okay. And let's see how those stamped. Oh, it does have good texture to that one. Yeah, I like that. This one isn't as dark. Let's try this. Just to see. I'm gonna put that back in place. I'm gonna stamp it with the Cajun Crepes on the larger one and see what it does. Just for creative fun purposes. Let's just see what it does. Oh, that's a little bit more contrast there. Let's just go with that. Let's just leave it. Okay, I'm gonna move this out of the way because it's we have a lot of camera space. Okay, I just put that over there on my side table, so that's why it's out of the way. Bring our inks back in here. Got our pumpkins done. We're going to do our large background stamp now. And I like to take my background stamps, and when I'm just trying to do an all over ink color, I'll just go ahead and flip them upside down on my large block here. And I'm just going to ink this all over. Take my cardstock and set that down. Okay. Then I'm just going to take my foam mat and press down on that, applying pressure evenly. Okay. flip that over. Oh, and look at that. Ooh, so pretty. I just love it. I love all the different leaves in there. And they're just kind of fluttering around. So yeah, that's beautiful. We'll put that there. So we've got this one done. Now we need to stamp our sentiment on this die cut label, and we did that in the Cajun Craze. Cajun Craze is a great color for this time of year. I'm grateful for you. Right. And then I want to do, oh, I guess I better fold my card base here. I need to do the stem. So let me get this folded. Okay. There we go. All right, little pumpkins. All right, so I grabbed these little pumpkins and I wanted to use them on my card. They're again from another stamp set. I grabbed some pumpkins. You've got pumpkins, just grab a pumpkin, put a little detail in there. So I'm going to do that on the inside of my card. Let's do these two little guys. We're going to do like right back on the back like that, and maybe right here. Super cute. Okay, I don't know if I clean this guy off. Let me do that just so I don't get ink everywhere. All right, now I need to stamp these stems. We're done with these big ink pads, so I'm going to close those because quite possible that I will put my fingers in the orange colors. Okay, so we're going to come back in here with our little Stampin' Spot, which is perfect for these little stamps. And I'm going to try to set these on top and we're going to see how that goes. We'll see how that goes together on camera. So I've just inked up my spot or my stamp on the spot. And then I'm going to take this die cut and just set it right over top of the stem and just press down with my fingers. We're going to see how this goes. Not too bad. I'd say that's a winner. Okay, we'll try this little guy. See if this one goes equally well. I've got that inked. I flipped the block over. I'm just going to set that down, press it with my finger. Oh my gosh, that worked out fine. Love that. Okay, so we've got that all done. Let's clean out these little stems so we can build our pumpkins. Okay. Envelope. Let's start to put this together. Okay. This weather, I so want to do some baking. Have you done any baking? I oh my goodness, I love this time of year. I love to bake. I love to eat the baked goods, but baking is great too. It makes the house smell deliciously yummy. And I'm thinking I want to do something, make something with pumpkin bread or like pumpkin bread or pumpkin muffins, maybe. I don't know. That sounds good. I tried making sourdough bread. Have any of you ever made sourdough bread? I know it became like super popular during the pandemic. Everybody's making bread and stuff, and I did not get on that bread making train at that time. Um, but I recently started making it, and I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. My husband and I have kind of changed it up with like different types other than your traditional sourdough. We made, okay, let me put this on here. Okay, so I just put that on with some dimensionals. So that's popped up in the center there. Now I'm going to build the pumpkins here. So we made traditional sourdough. We made a feta and sun-dried tomato one. Delicious. That was good. That made some delicious grilled cheese, let me tell you. It was good. And we made an apple cinnamon brown sugar one. That was good too. And then I just made like a cinnamon sugar. Um, so I'm not sure what this time, but my Roger wants to make oh, we have some corned beef. Like it's in the freezer. It's like one of those big corned beef roasts. I don't know. I can't eat beef or pork, so like I oh, I need to place this just so my pumpkin doesn't cover. Let me move that stem down just a little bit. There we go. Um, I don't eat beef or pork, so like he'll make it and maybe the kids will come over and eat some, but he's like, hey, could you make a loaf of sourdough so we could have that with the corned beef? And I'm like, sure. So I think I'll be doing that too. Okay, there is our second card. What do you think of that? Don't you just love those little pumpkins with the leaves? So cute. Okay, let me put this here. All right, let me clear these things out and I'll come back with another project for you with the supplies. Okay, here we go. We've got the third card. We are on a roll. All right, so we have got this beautiful sunflower card. So we've got that black and white layout with a pop of color and that crushed curry color. Just like, oh, so much fall. Yeah, a lot of fun. So there is a little bit of shimmer on this card. If you had a kit to go, you'll notice that your sunflowers shimmer a little bit because I've done that embossing for you, so you have that piece. And I put just some little shimmer spray on there. This is just an old hairstyling bottle, but it's just got some 70% rubbing alcohol and then some shimmer paint in there and gives you this great shimmer spray. Just add a little something extra to your card. So on the projects at class, you should have the gingham black and white ribbon in your kit. I did run out of this ribbon, so you might have some of this black and white with the polka dots and like a scallopy edge in your kit. I needed to have something that would complement kind of our design here with the black and white too. So, but I ended up running like I had, well, let me show you. This is what I had of a whole spool of ribbon left. Like that's all I had. So I was like, okay, well, we're running out of ribbon. So anyway, you'll have something in there very complimentary if you do not have the gingham ribbon. So the stamp sets that I'm using, again, we're focusing on gratitude. So I've put the sentiment I chose was thank you for the little things. It is from the Twisted in Time stamp set. There's also a die set that goes along with this. This is currently on the last chance list, so you can still grab it. I love the texture in this tree. That's one of the things that drew me to that. And the dies are equally as cool with the texture and the die cuts, the labels and things that are in this stamp set. So can see that one online. And then our Love and Courage stamp set, we used this in last month's class, I believe. I've actually used this a couple of different times, but we're going to be using the sunflower here, minus the words of encouragement on the one, the text on the one side. We're just using the half of the sunflower. This is a great charitable cause set, and $3 from each of these sets sold goes towards cancer charities focusing on cancer research. We're using crushed curry ink, Memento Black ink. We are using the Sunflower 3D embossing folder, which is still unavailable. But when this comes back in stock here in the next week or so, I mean, if you want it, you need to grab it because this is a hot commodity. And then with this embossing folder, we need to use our gray specialty plate. So as far as the measurements for our project, so we've got our basic white envelope. We've got a piece of basic white that's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. We've got a piece of basic black that's 4 by 5.25. A piece of white that is 3.75 by 5. A piece of crushed curry that is 2.75 by 5. And then your ribbons should be about 6.25 inches for the long one, and then 3 inches for the short one. And we're going to do a faux knot. I've done those before in classes. I find from the feedback that I've gotten from my in-person classes, it's much easier for the ladies to tie the ribbon because you are wrapping that ribbon around and fastening behind and then just sliding this in to tie instead of trying to wrap the ribbon around everything and tie and get the knot that you want. This just ends with um, overall pleasing results for everybody as far as trying to tie a knot. So I've just kind of navigated and gone that direction with my bow tying when I have it on at classes. So we're going to take and fold our card base in half. Okay. And let's go ahead and do our embossing. I didn't go ahead and emboss this first, so I'm going to have to run over to my die cutting machine real quick to do this. So I'm just going to take my crushed curry and put it in here, oh, just in a place where I've got a couple sunflowers on there. So I'm going to take and put this in my die cutting machine with a specialty plate on top. Let me run that through real quick. Hang on just a second. Just running right over here to my machine. Okay. And push that. Right. Did you hear my machine? I told Roger, I was like, I need you to look at my machine. I don't know, something wonky with the handle. I think maybe it just got a little too much love. Um, okay, I'm gonna grab a paper pumpkin box. This is what I use for my shimmer station. I don't know if you can see the shimmer in there, but it's full of shimmer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and spray this. And we'll let that dry a little bit. It won't take very long at all to dry. But I'll set that aside so it can sparkle away. And then I need a piece of stamping paper. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna start by stamping. I just went ahead and put my envelope on there, so we'll start with that. So I'm just going to ink this stamp, but I'm primarily focusing on the flower part. I might get some of the words, but I'm not going to stamp that as far as on my project. So this stamp is pretty much right where the image says it is as far as the flower design. So I'm just going to kind of look at the line of my envelope, stamp down. And then see the words they just kind of stamped on my scrap paper, and I've got that nice little sunflower right on the flap. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the same on the front. So we've got that ready to go. And then I need this white layer. This is what I'm gonna do my stamping on. And we'll ink that sunflower up again. And I'm gonna start by stamping it in the center so I get a nice full half of sunflower. So I'm gonna get that in the center. And then shift to the side here and do that portion. And then I'll shift it down and do that other side. So you've got those three. That kind of looks like little sunshines coming up over the horizon on the card. Okay. And I don't think I stamped anything on it. Although I could put a nice little sunflower right there. That actually might be kind of cute. Let's do that. I didn't do that on my example, but let's just go ahead and do that here. I think that would be nice. It'll carry that design over to the inside of the card. So I'll clean that off again. All right. Then I'm going to bring in my card front that I stamped on and go ahead and put my sentiment on there. And I'm going to use the Memento Black. Stamp that. Thank you for the little things. So pretty. I love the black and white with that pop of the crushed curry. It's such a pretty combination. Right? So our sunflower, our shimmery, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the shimmery? I always try to show it on camera, but you can't really see it. But you're done the kit to go. You've got some shimmery sunflower cardstock in front of you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tear this. And I'm going to tear it, you just want to use your thumb and index finger and both way on both hands and just kind of follow each other down and tear towards you. So you get a nice torn edge and you kind of got some control over it. So I'm just taking about a 1/4 inch off and get some. I like to use the liquid glue on the embossed pieces. It just seems to adhere better. And See, that'll line right up. I probably could have torn a little bit more off because you can't see the tips of my sunflower, but I'm okay with that. So if I could actually like line it up. There we go. Okay. So I'm all right with that. This one has a little bit more space. I must have torn a little bit more on that one. So at this point, then you would put your ribbon on. So because I'm going to change this up, just gonna cut that off. And you know me with the ribbon, I like to fasten it behind with some Scotch tape. So I'm going to put that in place. Then make sure it is even. And do it on the other side. Okay. Right. Now, I'm gonna try and see if I like the way this ties because I actually might just want to leave it like polka dotted like that. So once you fasten the longer piece on your cardstock layer, you're going to take the smaller piece and run that underneath to be able to tie your bow. I just want to see how this is going to look with, I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece and just give it a try. Because I'd like the polka dots to be exposed on both ends, and I don't know if that's going to be. So let me see how this is going to work. I don't know if I can finagle it. Oh my goodness, I should have like cut a longer piece. Oh, for heaven's sake. There we go. Yours will be longer, especially if you've got the gingham ribbon, it's fine because it's a little easier to tie. It's a little thinner. Okay, that's cute. That still has a little polka dots on it. I like that. All right, so I was just concerned that maybe it wouldn't let me twist it to like keep the polka dots in there. That is cute. I like that. I like it a lot. Okay. Yeah, see, just other opportunities to create something different. Love that. All right, so then we're going to put this layer on our black cardstock. And because I've got the ribbon on there, I want to use my Stampin' Seal. And I was just working with a stamper on the Stampin' Seal. She had got this and it was the first time she's used it. And it's different than our snail that we used to carry. And a lot of times you have to roll it forward a little bit to get it to come forward so that it makes contact. But as you can see, once you do that, then it comes out very evenly and solid, and you don't need a lot of it to hold down your project. But it is a little bit, there is a little bit of a learning curve when you're using our Stampin' Seal. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just because it's such a strong adhesive that then if you're running it and you pull, it pulls back, and then so then the stick isn't there for it to like continue on. So if you have any troubles with that, you know, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with it, but I do know that that is a concern. And I was so proud of her because she said, I contacted Stampin' Up. I told them that I don't like that adhesive. It's frustrating me. And they made it right for her, and which they typically always do. So I'm glad that she reached out. You know, anytime that you have a concern with a product, if you you're welcome to reach out to me because I'm happy to help you too. But you can always contact Stampin' Up directly. They're really good about with customer relations and trying to, you know, make sure you're happy with what you have purchased. Okay, there is our third project. We are just moving along here. All right, let me clean up these supplies and then I'll be back with our last project. Hey, all right, here is our fourth gratitude project that we're making with a fall feel to it. So you'll notice that all these projects, even though the sentiments have greetings of gratitude, which is perfect for the season we're going into with Thanksgiving. I know we still haven't got to Halloween yet, but you know where I'm going with that. And the imagery that we're using on the projects all have like very much a fall feel to them. Of course, this prairie grass is a beautiful set that you could stamp all year round, to be quite honest. So this is our project, and we are doing some embossing after we stamp. We've done some die cutting. We have some of our vanilla twine from the packet, and then we're using basic beige as our card base. So everything is flush to the surface as far as layering it. I do have some dimensionals on this underneath this pretty peacock piece, which my nails match. Um, they match quite well with the pretty peacock. Pretty peacock. I noticed that at class yesterday. Some of the ladies were sharing that that my nails match this project in particular. So anyway, the ink that we're using is Pretty Peacock. The embossing folder we're using is the Exposed Brick 3D folder. So we'll be using that specialty plate when we emboss that. I've got the large prairie grass stamp on my Stamparatus. I set it up this way yesterday for the ladies because it's just, I put arrows there. It's just easier to ink and stamp down and they know right where to put it since this is one of our clean red rubber stamps. So this is the stamp set as well. And we're going to use this one on the inside of our card, probably put that on the envelope too. But this has some nice sentiments on it. We've used this before on my class videos too. And then we're using the Inspiring Imperfections, and I have taken the Thanks for Helping Me Through This Difficult Time stamp out of here. The die set that I'm using is the Stylish Stitch Shapes. I've used this square here, which like so this size one. And then I used this size one. I know they're kind of all jumbled. I use this die set a lot. In fact, I should probably put this little guy on the other side or that's going to get lost. I use it a lot. Okay. All right. And then our supplies. So we've got our envelope. We've got a piece of basic beige that's 5.5 by 8.5. It's scored at 4.25. We've got a piece of Pretty Peacock that is 4 by 5.25. As you can see, I have die cut our Pretty Peacock stitch square right out of there. I'm going to layer over top of it, so that's already been done. Then I've got a piece of basic beige that is 3.75 by 5. And then our smaller basic beige die cut circle. And then we've got a piece of twine that is about 18 inches long. It's fairly long because we're going to loop it around quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and start by folding our card base in half. And we will do a little stamping here. So I'm going to put my cardstock in the position where I've got it marked for the Stamparatus, and then we'll emboss it after that. So let me get this in place. So I don't know, like if any of you, with the ladies, if you're watching and you were at class, you may or may not have heard me say, but my son was coming home from work and he hit a deer hit him, I guess you'd say, because I don't think anybody purposely hits a deer. They just run full on into them and then they hit you and do a lot of damage to your car. And it did a lot of damage to his vehicle. And so he found out today that they have totaled it. It's done that much damage. So they are not repairing it. It's that bad. But I'm just grateful that he is okay. That is the most important thing in my mind. So I've inked that. I'm going to stamp this down. Okay. And I want to get it a little darker there. Maybe did not press as strongly as I should have right there. And much better. That looks much better. Okay, let's go ahead and shut this. So anyway, he's super bummed. He loved that vehicle, you know. It's like, but what are you gonna do? I mean, it's this time of year, those deer are running and we're at their mercy to be like, watch out for them. Okay, so I'm going to take this, now that I've stamped it, I'm going to put it in my embossing folder, line it up with that line that's at the bottom here that Stampin' Up! Provides, and I'm going to run this through the embossing machine. I wanted to do my stamping before I run it through, so let me do that quickly. So I've got that all run through. Done with that. We're going to do a little stamping with our sentiment, and I'm going to stamp this at an angle because I want to put my sentiment on that way and give it just a little bit something different. And stamp that down. Okay. That off. And then I'll use this grass that's kind of like the cattails and stuff. The cattails and stuff. This is the cattail stamp. There's another grass stamp in there too. Just gonna use this one. Okay, so we've got that on the inside, and then we'll do that on the side of our envelope too. Okay. And let me clean this off because that pretty peacock will go everywhere. I think I've got all the stamping done. All right. So we're ready to assemble this card. Okay, we're going to go with these pieces first. And because I've got a hole in there, I'm actually going to go like this and press my embossed piece into it so that I know I'm not putting like adhesive there, and then I'm going to get it all over my work surface. So we'll put that down in place. Center it to get a nice frame of the pretty peacock color. And then I'm going to put that on the front of my card. So yeah, so be careful out there. If you are out there driving, watch out for those deer because they are running. A lot of them through our backyard. But yeah, just be careful. They can do a lot of damage, and we don't want anybody getting injured either. All right, got that layered. I'm gonna go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this die cut. And I'm going to keep that straight, but I want to angle this piece. Okay. Then I'm going to get my snail adhesive, not my snail, this is my Stampin' Seal. And I'm just going to run a little bit behind where I'm going to put the sentiment. I like to do it this way when I'm layering like a big piece of twine where I want to go kind of back and forth, back and forth. So I'm just going to go like this, just looping it. And then I can just kind of press it down in place. This gives me a little control over like how I run the loops too. And this might be longer than what you want. You can do whatever you might like. Let's see. Oh yeah, that looks good. I've got some loops up there. Okay. So where's my dimensionals? There we go. I need some dimensionals. And I'm going to figure out, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm doing this a little backwards. So I don't want my dimensionals to stick to the little pieces of twine and then they don't make contact with the card. So what I'm actually doing, you can see, I'm kind of putting them in between the twines. Now, this is my method to the madness or whatever, my creativity at work here. You're seeing the inner workings there. It of my mind, which is kind of cluttered, and it has a lot of chocolate in my system right now. Okay. So let me move this around. If you put the dimensionals on the back and you've got your twine pieces like really tight together, it may not make contact with your card, and then it might kind of be like flopping around kind of thing. So that's where I was going with that. You do whatever works best for you. Right there is our fourth project. Let me move these things out of the way and grab our other projects. Okay. Let's see. All right, coming back into one place here. I'm going to just set the doubles down here. That's, you'll see what I was working with, what we had for example at class, and then this one you'll be able to see the two. And the pumpkins, their pumpkin envelope. Now, as I was stamping here today, I forgot to mention that if you see anything here that you want to purchase and have for your own creative collection to be able to create at home, you can visit my online store at stampingyoucrazy.stampinup.net. And you can just sign on there with your own account and you can earn rewards for your direct purchases on my online store. You earn 10% back in rewards. If you don't want to order online yourself, you can always email me, message me, and I'm happy to place that order for you. If you are ordering online and you've ordered from another demonstrator and you're choosing to order with me, please just make sure that you have me selected, Christina Taylor, when you are shopping. I had a customer who's been a customer for quite a while, but she had purchased a class through another demonstrator, which is completely fine. I mean, you're sharing creativity, that's the best thing. But then she placed another order after attending one of my classes and thought she was ordering through me, and it ended up going to the other demonstrator because she had previously selected with a class with her. So she felt really bad about it, but I was just like, it's an honest mistake. I mean, it happens. So the important thing is that you got the creative products you were wanting to get. But so just keep that in mind. If you are ordering and want to order with me, just make sure that you have selected Christina Taylor as your demonstrator, so that way I'll get notification that you placed an order and can reach out to you with a little note of gratitude. So. Okay, well, I think that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed these projects and that they've inspired you to create some cards of your own. If you were doing the kit to go, I hope you loved it and you've already got people in mind that you're going to send these cards to. But expressing gratitude to people is always, always a wonderful thing to do. And I think especially this time of year with uh, I don't know, the climate that we're kind of in with just all things crazy in the world right now, that if you can share appreciation with somebody else, that is a beautiful thing. So I thank you for joining me today. I hope that you will take your own time to set aside to create your own paper sunshine. Um, Create and send it along to brighten somebody's day because that certainly makes a difference. I know in my day, and I'm sure the people that receive your cards, that would be the same for them. So, at any rate, if anybody wanted to send my daughter Cecily a birthday card, you can message me and I'll get you her address. I know I was sending her like a little bit of shower her with some birthday love. She's got a big birthday coming up here, so that's pretty exciting. But anyway, I will stop chatting and I will see you next time and we'll do a little more stamping then. So until then, happy stamping. Bye bye.